Welcome back, guys, to Mark and I's playthrough of Pokemon X. I think it's time we leave Lumiose City now. We've done pretty much everything that we can here. We did the Looker mission, so we're all done with that. And Emma is now, I guess, living there, so great. We'll see her in Pokemon ZA. What I wanted to do now, and I talked about this in the last episode of the playthrough, is to see what we can do about running into, I guess for us, it'll be Moltres, because we started with the Froakie. As a reminder, there are 3 legendary Kanto birds that are available to the player, 1 per game as far as I know, and it looks like the one that you encounter is based upon the starter that you picked. So if you got Chespin, Articuno is what you run into, Fennekin, Zapdos, and then Froakie, Moltres, respectively. So we're going to be running into a Moltres, of course. Now, I don't exactly know how to go about this very well, so we're going to do a couple of things. First, we're going to go where? I think I want to go to Anastar City, and then we're going to go ahead and just heal up here. From what I understand, it looks like you can run into your respective legendary Kanto bird in the tall grass. It's just a random encounter. It looks like after you encounter it the first time, you can track it, I think, in the Pokedex, but you have to encounter it 10 total times for it then to become a stationary overworld Pokemon encounter. So it looks like we just have to run in the grass. Maybe we find it. I don't really know how it works, because it's kind of weird. It doesn't seem like there's a specific patch of grass that you have to go to, and there's no way to guarantee for the encounter. So I don't know if there's like a really good farming method for this. I'm just going to run around the grass, and then fingers crossed we run into a legendary bird. So we're just going to run, and I'm just going to try to find... Here we go. So we're just going to do this. Let's do a quick little safety save. And then we're just going to go in here. I don't know if this is a guaranteed... That's it right there, actually. So that has to be the one. Yep. Well, that answered that. Moltres. Okay, so I didn't edit or alter the game in any way for this to happen. I didn't know the next available encounter was going to be Moltres. I had no idea. And then it fled. I didn't even get a chance to choose an option. I was going to throw a Master Ball at it. Okay, so that answers that. So it looks like after you defeat the Pokemon League and become the champion, the next available encounter in any grass anywhere, is my guess, because there's no way that was just random, is one of the legendary birds. So I'm glad we got that confirmed. So let's lock that down. From there, let's go to the Pokedex and see what happens. This is actually the first time I've even looked at this. Let's go to the National. And then Zapdos, or legendary birds, including Moltres, are in like the 150 or a 140 range, 145. The menu is going to be all screwed up for me right now. I'm going to back out of this. I don't know if there's really a good way to track this thing. Yeah, I can't even back out of the menu. This is this weird thing with this game for some reason. After I modded it and added the like the upscaling for it so it looks a little better. Yeah, so once we're in the Pokedex, I wonder... The submenu gets all crapped out. Yeah, it has to be in the National. I don't know if there's a way to speed this along. This is just going to take a long time for us to get to it. Yeah, see, and then it locks up. And then look at that. We're getting like not even 1 frame a second. This is like a bit is 1 frame a second. I don't know how we go about this, but I'm going to try and use the stylus here to see if I can get it to come down a little bit. There it goes. Okay, so it looks like we're there. Okay, so we'll go here. Yeah, we're just gonna... I apologize. I apologize. We're just gonna have to deal with this a little bit. I don't know if there's any way to, like, fix this. It's just a bug. There's no way around it. I've tried tinkering with it and doing all sorts of different things, but I'm not seeing anything here. So it's loading the... There we go. So now it's loading in the small menu. Lapras Studios, the 130s. So I think Zapdos, Articuno, Moltres, so he'd be 3, so you'd have Mewtwo at 150, and then 149. I don't think that's Moltres, it's 149, is it? You get 151, Mewtwo. The legendary birds become before or after the Dragonite family, the Dratini family? I'm not sure. So 42, 43, 45. This should answer that. I really don't know. I forget, dude. I can't remember any of this stuff. Come on. Let's toggle down one more. Just need one more row. I wonder if the frames struggling are making it harder for the input to go through as well. Come on, dude. There we go. Okay, I heard the pop, so it's going to go one more down. There it is. So 45, 46, 47, 48. So what are the... I don't... Honestly, I don't even remember here. Let me take a look at this. I'm such a crappy Pokemon fan. What is the family line here? I'm trying to look at this, see where... It is that. Okay. So Moltres, yeah. So Articuno, Zapdos, Moltres, Dratini, Dragonair, Dragonite, and Mewtwo. Okay, gotcha. Okay, just double checking. Could have sworn we saw some of the others. Dratini, yeah, that's why I was like, why is it missing here? Because I could have sworn we saw the Dratini family, but maybe we didn't see it in this playthrough. Okay, so I'm trying to click on it. There, I heard the little pop. So we got it. I know this sucks. We spent more time, but now it's good. All right, so I think, so this is the cry. This is the location. Habitat. I don't see anything on the map though, do you? I'm looking at this tiny itty bitty little map to see if there's anything indicative of where it would be. Oh, I didn't realize we could zoom in like that. That's pretty cool. What does this do? I don't see anything. Yeah. Okay, so I don't know. I don't know if there's a way to actually tell. It's this menu every time it breaks. Okay, the final Pokemon you encounter after meeting Professor Gilmore in Lumio's station after becoming the new champion will be one of the 3 legendary bird Pokemon from Kanto. Only one has been spotted in Kalos, and the one that appears depends on your starter Pokemon. However, the bird will flee immediately after the battle begins and begin roaming the region. After the first encounter, the Pokedex is able to track its location. That's not true. After encountering the Pokemon 11 different times, it will travel to Sea Spirit's Den. So I don't know how that'll work, because this will take forever. So we can run through here, and then there's no guarantee that it's even here. I don't know, dude. This is going to take a long freaking time. Oh, Sandslash. And trying to get that particular, like, encounter again is going to be really annoying. Because I don't know if there's, like, a really surefire way to do this. Ideally, what you want to find is a route that has grass on it, and then you can like cross over into an immediate other route that has grass and just ping back and forth. But I don't know that you can necessarily like... I don't know if there's a spot that you can do that, is there? I don't know. I'm sure that there is. I just can't think of a spot that would be a great way to like bounce back and forth between 2 routes and patches of grass. Now, because we ran into Moltres in the first wild encounter, it's not a sure thing that if it's like, let's say on Route 18, that the first encounter is going to be Moltres. I just don't assume, I don't think it works that way. Heatmore is here. Trash bag. I suppose what I should do, if I'm doing this, I should be in some location where there is a Pokemon that I want the shiny version for. I'm just going to keep doing this for a little bit. It depends on how long this takes. This might take a really, really long time. Oh, shiny one. Very nice. Shiny Girder. Okay, what level are you? 45. Let's go Pokemons. I don't know. Let's go to Jolteon first. Jolteon's a lower level. I can hit it with Thunder Wave. Yeah, honestly, I don't even know if I really want to deal with this thing much. Let's catch this thing first. Thunder Wave. Paralyze you. Very nice. Okay. And for those that are watching this that haven't followed the actual playthrough, I modified the game to allow 1 in 100 chances for a shiny. So that's why we're seeing this Girder, and I'm not like flipping out about it, because it's one of those things I was just doing for fun for the whole playthrough. So I thought, you know what, maybe we can run into some shinies. And to be honest, we ran into very, very few. Like, we're more than 30 episodes in by now, and I've only seen maybe 5 or 6. So the numbers are still pretty, like, the odds are still against me, especially if you're trying to farm for a particular Pokemon that is like super rare in a patch of grass anyway. Like if you're looking for an EV or if you're looking for a Lapras, yeah, that was gonna be a really hard shiny encounter. All right, let's go to Scizor now, and then have him do false swipe. Dang, he sounded heavy. All right, and then we'll go here. El swipo de falso. Huzzah! Brilliant. Might hurt. Okay, that's good. No more fighting. Go to the Pokeballs. Ultra Ball. Up and B. There it is. Nice. Cool. Okay, very nice. Nope, we're good. All right, and I'm gonna take a look and see what is the best location to farm for the birds. I'm curious. Let's see if we have a good source here. Let me take a look and find out. All right, popular spots people use because they're small and fast. Excuse me. Route 7 came at Route 5 near Lumio City. Steps from the gate. You can re-enter Lumio City through the forest area reloads. Route 15 from Bandamill Town. Okay, so it looks like Route 5 is good, but this is also a pretty decent spot. Like, it's only 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, I don't know, like 15 spots away. So it's really just... Yeah, but I don't know. Like, if it's going to take that long for me to load up the menu to try and see where this thing is, let's see. I'm going to Google and try to get some information. Ran into Moltres the first time, but now it's not showing up on the Pokedex. Okay. Doesn't show up on the Pokedex until you've seen it at least once after the league in the Wild Roam state. So I wonder if that means that that first encounter doesn't count. Let's see. The scripted encounter does not unlock its area tab. That's why. Okay, so the first count. Gotcha. So that one doesn't count towards the 10? Is that what I'm understanding? Okay, so right now you're in the phase. You trigger the first guaranteed post-league sighting. And then it's now roaming randomly until you see it one time as an actual wild encounter. See, I would throw my Master Ball at it. It's also bummed. I'm also bummed this might be... Is it shiny locked? Is this encounter shiny locked? Because then you could, like... That means that the first patch of grass that you go into, if you wait... Oh, it is shiny locked, it says. Okay, so it says the 10 roaming settings cannot be shiny. The final static battle at sea is also shiny locked. There is no legitimate way to obtain a shiny Articuno, Zapdos, Moltres, and X and Y. If you want the shiny version legitimately, the first time these birds were not shiny locked in a main game was in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. The fixed encounters there can be shiny. Ultra Sun and Moon, Dynamax Adventures does not apply here. Dynamax was an Ultra Sun. That doesn't sound right. There you are, baby. You little... Yeah. Okay, so number 2. Got it. Okay, and I'm assuming that we just can't... That wasn't too bad. So we can't throw a ball here. So this is the first time. Now, to be honest, if it's going to be like that, and the menu is going to load, if it's going to be too much of a pain to load, we might as well just do it this way. Because it's faster for me to just do it like this and check and see if it's here. So that means, so then that was the first encounter in the grass after I loaded this in. Okay, so we're learning here. So the first time you encounter it, then after you beat the Pokemon League, the first time you walk in the grass, the first wild encounter is the legendary bird that's dependent upon the starter that you got. For me, I got Froakie, so therefore we're seeing Moltres. It is shiny locked, so there's no point in trying to obtain a shiny. That's good to know. Because the version of the game that I'm running is so slow on the menu loading, it would take too long to load that up and try to see where Moltres is at. Now, Moltres does not appear in the very first scripted encounter. So the second encounter of Moltres, for me, or your legendary bird, whatever one that is, the second encounter, then it will show up in the Pokedex and its habitat will be a roam. So then you can find your method of you know, running around if you're doing Route 18 like I am or not, whatever, it doesn't matter. There's probably better spots. I'm just here doing my thing, whatever. So the second time it shows up on your Pokedex, so that way you can find your method of you know, reloading the areas so that you can try to catch it. So not counting the first scripted encounter, 10 more times on top of that is what I understand. It will then stop roaming around. And then it will go specifically to the Sea Spirit's den. That's what it sounds like. So, but then you can find, if you are looking for the shiny birds, let's go Pikachu, let's go Eevee, are the ways to go about that. Which I never played those because they didn't look fun to me. Visually, like the graphics wise, looked interesting. But like I didn't like the Pokemon encounter situation. I don't know. I didn't play it, so I don't really know. I don't know if people really loved it. Was that bush is moving? Oh, what the hell is this? Oh, a Durant. We haven't seen that before. In this game, anyway. I've been trying to get a shiny version of this in Pokemon Go for a long time, too. I think it's kind of like a sand color as opposed to the gray that it has. Still elusive. I run into it every once in a while, but never the shiny version. But yeah, let's go. Pikachu and Eevee is available. Ultra Sun and Moon, it looks like. That one's available there. There's a comment here about Dynamax. I don't know why, because I don't think that's an Ultra Sun and Moon mechanic, as far as I know. Because Dynamaxing was a Sword and Shield thing, right? So I don't know about Ultra Sun and Moon. I don't know why it says that. And then somehow it looks like in the Crown Tundra in Sword and Shield. The Galar variants can be shiny via Dynamax adventures, excuse me, but not the Kanto forms. So I thought the Galar versions of the birds were actually really cool in their shiny forms. I love that the shiny versions of the Galar birds is their Kanto colors. That's really cool. I think Zapdos is like Galar Zapdos with its Kanto colors is one of the raddest designs. I love that. Like, I like all the legendary birds. Zapdos is probably my favorite. I don't know if he's the strongest, but he's probably my favorite one. But I think the Galar version of Zapdos with Kanto colors as a shiny is... That's sick. That is a pretty look. I like that. We should also, like, mark this down that was the first time, right? That was the first time we ran into this bird. Too bad you can't shiny hunt it. I do think that there's... I mean, I'm sure that the Pokemon Company and everybody that makes these choices and stuff knows better than me about, like, you know, the methodology behind what's shiny, what's not, what's locked, what's not. Like, you know, if you're doing, like, mystery gifts for it, or maybe, like, a GameStop code or something like that, which they're still doing, because Miraidon and Koraidon were GameStop shiny exclusives, and they just came out in, I want to say, October 2025. I went to a GameStop, and the socially awkward GameStop employee, like, tried to explain everything, like, their entire business model to me, and I'm like, I don't care, dude. Like, do you have codes or not? And the bottom line was, no, we don't. And some stores got restocked, but they sold out in minutes because I guess either employees were either hoarding them, handing out stacks of them, or like their whole inventory, or people were waiting in line so they could get the GameStop codes and then sell them on eBay for 40 bucks a piece, which is just disgusting, dude. At that point, you might as well just, like, hack the Pokemon in somehow and then just alter the details and just say it was a GameStop mystery gift thing or something. I don't know. Something like that. But needless to say, I didn't get one, and most of the people I know didn't get one. I heard someone that I know, an acquaintance of mine who lives overseas in Europe, got a code. They don't have GameStop there. It's a different company. Like, GameStop is a US thing, I guess. And they have some other, you know, semi-related equivalent that was handing out the codes, and they got one, so that was cool for them. But still, I do feel strongly that, like, I just really wish that they wouldn't. I wish they wouldn't shiny lock it, unless the guaranteed way to get the shiny was a mystery gift. There we go. So that was a second encounter. Did you see that? Okay, so we ran into Durant and then this one. Interesting. Okay, so that's two. We're gonna be here a while. If it's it kind of feels like it's maybe one every 10 freaking minutes. God, we're gonna be here for a year. That math is terrible, but get it. But like, don't do codes like somewhere where you have to go there and like they have inventory. Don't do that. I don't, I'd be fine going to GameStop, like, because if you remember back in like the Pokemon Gen 4 era, if you went to GameStop and you connected to their Wi-Fi, you could get shiny legendaries that way. I remember I got a shiny Palkia and I don't know if it was Giratina, but Palkia and the other one, I forget his name, but I got those, I think, for Pokemon Platinum. Speaking of which, I gotta check my Pokemon Platinum game to see if those are still there so I can transfer them up through, what was it? Pokebank. I just checked that the other day. Did I tell you guys that? I got my Pokebank actually is active in October 2025. And I was able to move a bunch of Pokemon that I had Eevee and Ivy trained and bred up to my Pokemon home, so I'm stoked at that. But I gotta see if I have shinies there. I might do that for like all my DS games. I've got Pearl, I've got Platinum, and I've got might have Diamond. I don't know. I'll have to double check. But yeah, don't do it where it's a code on a card and there's a limited inventory. Make it so everyone can get one. If you go to GameStop or Target or wherever the you know, it's just uncool. Because like there's too many adults that are trying to take advantage of like shinies and like other collections and stuff right now. There's a very disgusting scourge, plague as it were, going on in the collector community, especially with Pokemon. So whether it's trading cards or let's say it's Funko Pops or, you know, Magic the Gathering cards, like scalpers are going crazy. And Pokemon is just like getting hit with it right now. First it was like Nike shoes, you know, the sneakerheads with their Air Jordan BS. Seems like they've kind of lifted up a little bit on that, which is nice because I actually collect those for myself, not to sell, but I like wearing. But also too, like as a side note, Nike has been making some really crappy shoe designs and some really ugly colorways, so naturally no one wants to buy those anyway. So any scalper that bought, you know, 100 pairs of the Shattered Backboard reissue, orange toe, gross. That one's actually not that bad, but I like the original one with the orange and white as opposed to the orange and black. In any case, those guys moved on to Pokemon cards, and now like that's a huge nightmare to deal with. But those same dudes stood in line, you know, waiting at GameStop to buy all the Pokemon cards for the Mega Evolution releases, and I don't think Phantasmal Flames is out yet. That might be soon though, but they grabbed all the Mega Evolution ones, and then they also grabbed all the cards from Koraidon and Koraidon, which sucks. Because I think Koraidon's, I think that's the robotic looking dragon, right? That one's got a really cool silver color to it that I just freaking love. Koraidon, I think, is the red one that has like the kind of wheels that are like, I don't know, the one that's from the Paleolithic era looking thing or whatever. But yeah, Koraidon is friggin' sick. But I'll never get that. I'm not paying $40 for that. Just out of sheer principle. I could afford it, but I'm not doing that. I'm not gonna pay $40 for a shiny. Now that being said, if you did actually have a method of you know, emulation, like if there was there's got to be some way, if you're playing on an emulator, let's say, and you're shiny farming and stuff, or if you're doing it, you know, illegitimately, I don't know, like don't flood the market with shinies and stuff like that and ruin the hunt, but like if you're doing it for yourself, like fine, whatever, I don't care. That's your business. But if you're getting the shinies that you want, there has to be a way to get it from an emulator and transfer it over to an actual legitimate cartridge, and then from the cartridge get that over to the Pokebank. I'm sure there's a way. I might look into that myself. Because my favorite shiny of all time, there's two that it's tied with, is Shiny Furret, which I have on the team, which I cheated to get for fun, and is Shiny Alolan Raichu. And I'm going to be playing Pokemon Sun and Moon for the first time on this channel soon, after I'm done with Pokemon X, in fact, so be on the lookout for that. And I'll probably cheat just to get a shiny Pikachu on the team so I can evolve it into shiny Alolan Raichu, just to have it on the team for fun. And then I really want to see how I can get that out, because I do have a couple of shiny Alolan Raichus like that I got from Pokemon Go. But I'm bummed because I didn't know this, but apparently I missed the news that there was like an Alolan Raichu like event in Scarlet and Violet, and people were just getting tons and tons of shinies from it, and it made me sick to my stomach that I missed that. I was so upset. I had no idea. I wasn't paying attention. I blinked and then it was gone. And like, there's not really a good channel anywhere out there that like tells you about it either. Like, I don't know, like you have to follow a bunch of fan forums to get updates on that stuff, because the Pokemon company doesn't like really push that sort of thing very much. And then obviously with the marketing for ZA and now the release of ZA over the past couple of days at the time of this recording, like no one's going to talk about Scarlet and Violet anymore. It'll probably still have updates, you know, maybe security updates, bug fixes, possibly no feature updates. I'd be very surprised if they ever did that again. And then maybe they'll just have like a periodic, you know, seasonal calendar of, hey, like, you know, here's this new, you know, terror raid thing or whatever those things, those adventures are called, and then little horde encounters or whatever they are. And then you could farm it, which I would if I had freaking known. But I don't know. But I got, I did get, it took me so long in Pokemon Go to get the freaking shiny Alolan Raichu, dude. That sucked so much, but I had so many raid passes that I had to buy. I spent so much money on that game just for this, just so I could run into Alolan Raichu and get the remote raid passes so I could use it. Dude, that sucked. I hated that. That was not fun. It took me, I want to say, 2 years, maybe longer. And then I got the first one, and then immediately I got another one right after that, which I don't even know why I did it again, but I think there was just like maybe one, I didn't have to use a remote raid pass. I used my daily, it was just near me, and then I got lucky again. But yeah, it took me, I want to say, well over 120 raid passes. Disgusting. I know. What a chump I am. But at the time, there was no other way to get it. They weren't pushing Alolan Raichu through any means in the Sword and Shield games, or any of the games, until the whatchamacallits. Until Scarlet and Violet started having those like horde encounters or whatever they are. I need to buy a new version of Pokemon Sun so that way I can play that on my DS and move it over to Pokemon Bank. I also was thinking too, like with my, because I have the new 3DS or the new 3DS XL, like the big one or whatever, and it's like pristine. Like it's in the mintiest of mint conditions you could possibly imagine, because I didn't really play it that much. I got it specifically for Pokemon, and then for Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. And I was so lucky that I found my Ocarina of Time. I just restarted it actually just for fun on the 3DS. Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. I have them both still for 3DS. Played them both actually on my channel too, so if you're interested in checking those out. But yeah, I might get like I have an action replay for an earlier version of DS, and I was digging everywhere for that, and I found it, and I was disappointed to find that it doesn't work on the new 3DS. Like, shoot, I can't get the I can't hack in the shinies that I want. So I need to find an earlier, or I need to find a version of Pokemon Sun and Moon, because I had them and then I lost them. I don't know where they are. I don't think I traded them in because I have the cases for that. So they're around here somewhere. I wouldn't keep the case and just trade in the game. I've never done that before, unless it was like one of those steelbook cases, you know. But yeah, so I need to find a copy of Pokemon Sun for 3DS so I can play that. And then get a action replay device, or just hack the firmware on my 3DS XL, which I probably will do as well. I grabbed a bunch of information on that, and I've been researching that a little bit, but I haven't done it before, so I don't know the process. But I need to hack that, and if I can, then you can like flip on codes at a whim, and then I could save my money. Because like I think the action replays, if you're familiar, I have it right here. So this is what it looks like. It's a little cartridge. And there's different versions of them. Some of them, you plug it into your device, and then there's like an opening so you can put the cartridge, plug it into this thing, and then run the codes that way if you want. Or you have this one where I plug it in, punch in my codes, pull it out, and then insert the card, or the game card in, and then in doing that, the codes stay and apply to the game. but like the way that it's designed, it's meant to like slide in but not lock in, so that way you can pull it out without damaging the DS. Because the DS, I think, at a certain point had like a push thing, and then it would lock in. But I think like one of them might have like this little tooth switch thing that locks the game in place, so you can't pull it out for that reason, unless you mod your console in some way. So this thing doesn't work, unfortunately, for my 3DS XL, and so looking for a new one online, I found that it's like $250, and I'm like, dude, are you kidding me? These old pieces of technology cost this much, like, disgusting. Oh, what's up, baby? So this is a fun fact, actually. The very first Geodude, or sorry, the very first shiny that I ever captured, or encountered, I should say, sans the guaranteed, oh, this is dirty, the guaranteed red Gyarados, was a level 8 female shiny Gyarados. That was the first one I ever had encountered before. I will say these horde encounters are kind of annoying. I wish that you could do, like, if they can all attack you, I should be able to attack 5 times, instead of you attack once and they attack you 5 times. Dude, are you kidding me? This is gonna take me an hour. Does that hurt his side? Whoa. Nice on that one. So if they do that again, that shiny is done. Because he just hurt his own team. So let's do Ice Beam, and let's hit the one that pulled that off. So I think that's you. So he's the one who has Magnitude. Let's knock him out, so he doesn't do that again. Damn. Sturdy as well. I'll get very lucky if this Geodude survives that. If someone does their Magnitude again. Oh, come on with these. Ah, they're dead. You dumbass. Just killed the shiny. That makes the Geodude like one of the hardest shinies to possibly encounter, or any Pokemon like this that comes in a form that has an attack that damages everyone inside. That sucks, dude. Of course, the dumbass that... See, why couldn't the shiny one do the knocking out, you know? Like, hey, there's number 3. We got very lucky. So yeah, it seems like every 10 minutes, so we're gonna be here for 100 freaking minutes. All right, so that's number 3. I'm gonna make a note actually on this side here. Do. Okay, 3 times. All right. But yeah, that Geodude, that sucked, dude. Yeah, the first one I ever saw, level 8 female Geodude. I don't remember what game it was. I think it was Gen 2, but I don't recall. Because the funny thing was, too, is I remember growing up, like, when we all first encountered the red Gyarados, we didn't know what that meant. Because remember, like, when that game came out, like, there really wasn't any official, like, online presence that would give you this information. Like, do you remember, like, some of you guys, if you're a little older, you might remember going to, like, supercheats.com or cheatcc.com, and a lot of the cheats were made up BS nonsense that just, like, was obviously not going to work in any game. People would just make things up, and there was no, you know, verification of what the cheats actually were and everything. But situations like that meant that the red Gyarados was, like, an outlier. We didn't know what shiny Pokemon were. We had no idea that every Pokemon had an alternate color when it first came out. We just thought that the Gyarados was just like, oh, this is just a unique thing that the game does for this specific encounter and whatever. And so we all just like thought, okay, sweet, cool. I'll have a, you know, I'll take the red Gyarados and then move on. But when I ran into a Geodude that was shiny, I was like, what in the mother? I knew what shinies were by the time that happened. I should be clear. But I think a lot of people at that time, like, I don't know if it was possible. And maybe you guys can correct me on this. I could look it up, but I'm too lazy. I don't know if it was possible to run into a shiny Pokemon prior to running into the red Gyarados. I don't know if the game allowed you to do that. I mean, given how Game Freak programs these things and how lazy they can be, I really don't think they would put in that effort to like shiny lock you out of everything until the Gyarados is encountered. But I never heard of anyone actually encountering it before. And you know, like if anyone found anything really cool in a Pokemon game, they would just go nuts, and like the whole school would be flooded with like rumors and discussions and all that. Like I remember when I was a kid riding the bus and Pokemon Yellow was out, like there was this kid who told me that there was a Pokemon Yellow introduced a new Eevee evolution called Graveleon, and that you could evolve Eevee by doing like some really stupid like hoop jumping, and you can evolve it into Graveleon. And this kid wasn't just lying to me, like he genuinely thought it was real as well. So when I told him, I was like, hey dude, I did the thing that you said, it doesn't work, and he was like shocked. He had no idea. So kids just, you know, said a bunch of nonsense. We believed everything. Now we're kind of back in that stage though, because for a while, you know, there was a period I think where the internet was a bit more trustworthy, and then it sort of became, you know, free-for-all nonsense now. But misinformation is the worst it's ever been. Whether it's politics or Pokemon, it's misinformation everywhere. Yeah, Graveleon. I did hear though that there was, and this don't quote me on this because I don't know if this is true, but I did hear that there was a planned Eevee evolution. Maybe not in ZA, but sort of like in one of the later games. I don't remember which one, but it was a more recent generation, obviously, where they wanted to do a flying version of Eevee. Obviously, we haven't got anything since Sylveon, but I kind of feel like at this point, like they should just do one, like an Eevee evolution for every single generation. Like, oh, I think there should be not a gimmick, but like, they should do it where every single generation of Pokemon games introduces research and discoveries on Eevee, and as time goes on, they find more and more ways to push its genetic code into various directions, and then it becomes, you know, every form that you can imagine, or every element that you can imagine. But it's really annoying to me, I think, when like you have a handful of generations where you've got like, you know, tons of different Pokemon, and then eventually there's like, oh, we just discovered this Pokemon levels up and evolves into a new form if it's got high happiness in the day. And it's like, bitch, you telling me that like my Pokemon have hated me every time I use them, and like now they have the ability to be happy, you know? Like it makes no sense. That's to imply that every Pokemon ever made prior was super sad because you couldn't make it happy enough to evolve in an earlier generation. Oh, Gordon County. Still no shiny in this one. Not dealing with this though. You know what I'm saying? But I do think they should introduce all forms of Eevee, in my opinion. I feel like we're kind of at that point where we should do that. But, you know, whatevs. Furthermore, recently, this week, this past week, prior to recording this, so like the week of October 10th, I think. Or maybe October 12th, the week of October 12th. Whatever, somewhere around there. A few days before Pokemon ZA was released, because it's out now. There was a bunch of leaks about all the different Mega Evolutions and DLC plans for Pokemon ZA, so like tons and tons of Pokemon are getting Mega Evolutions, like far more than we ever thought. There's like 50 new Mega Evolutions, it's crazy. Not Flygon though, sadly, for some reason. And among all that stuff, among the leaks was like not only an early playable build of ZA that you could download and access, which I haven't done, so don't ask me about it. I guess the leaks revealed like what their plans were, Game Freak's plans were. What? Whatever. All the way through 2030 and possibly beyond that, which I found to be very interesting. So this includes a new Pokemon generation, because I think this is Gen 9. Hold on, let me take a look. Let's see, hold on. Pokemon Scarlet Violet. Because I don't think ZA counts as a new generation. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet are the 9th generation of Pokemon games. So, yeah, so we're on Gen 9. Okay, that makes sense. Okay. So Gen 10, which will be around in 2026, 2027-ish, depending on whether or not there's any delays, will be called, and this is the Japanese translation, Pokemon Wind and Pokemon Wave. which I thought was kind of cool. They showed the official logo designs, and I guess like the theme for that generation is infinity, and somehow the way that like the air design is on this logo and the wave design is, they connect in a way where like the wind is like this and like the air is like this, so it creates like an infinity logo. So that definitely supports their infinity theme. So there's that. We don't know much about Gen 10 other than a handful of screenshots from concept art, which blew my mind, actually. I'll be real, which I think is big news in and of its own, because it looks like the next generation of Pokemon games, assuming that the concept art actually like, you know, reflects what the game looks like, it's going to be a beautiful, like lush, sprawling world that'll be just like the Breath of the Wild Pokemon game that you wanted, but far more dense with like flora and fauna. Like, it was really cool. They just like the concept art, which again, concept art, shows the trainer like walking along a path, and there's like a Snorlax sleeping, you know, under a tree nearby. There's Pokemon like playing on the dirt path, and like there's grass and other trees and stuff that, you know, Pokemon are in and around and everything. So like there's tons and tons of really beautiful, you know, things that Game Freak wants to do. But I think, you know, if you're going to create a Pokemon generation every year or two, like probably every 2 years, year and a half, 2 years, that's not a lot of development time. So you're probably not going to be able to create this, you know, really amazing, impressive thing. But I don't know. At the same time, Game Freak also did, I think, they're planning on releasing this like other 3D RPG, which looked really cool. And I was like, okay, if you can do that while you're making Pokemon games, then you a-holes could have made Pokemon so much better. So if you've been spending 10 years on this, you know, Black Myth Wukong, you know, Dynasty Warriors looking RPG thing, if you can make that, but you're telling me that these Pokemon games look like butthole, like then that's on you. So I don't buy that the development time is too short. Plus, I think every generation of Pokemon games that comes out creates a pretty solid foundation they can just build on. So eventually they could have, you know, a really impressive looking visual identity for Pokemon with really deep mechanics and animations and everything, and they just don't have that. Now, I have heard, and I haven't played, but I have heard that ZA looks great and is one of the best Pokemon games that they've made so far. So I'm stoked about that. But it is a Legends entry. It's not a core entry of the game, so that's why it's still part of Gen 9. So it doesn't actually count. So hopefully Gen 10 gets the respect and love that it deserves. That's what I'm hoping. So fingers crossed on that. They also have Gen 11 planned, I want to say, between 2028 and 2030, which was cool. But during this time, between now and 2030, there is a Pokemon game called Project Seed that is coming around. And Project Seed is, shockingly, a massive open world RPG game. No idea if they're going to actually like follow through on it. I did hear that a big project at Game Freak was canceled. Some people are speculating that it might be Project Seed, whatever that is. But Project Seed is said to be all the Japanese regions of Pokemon. So I think it's Kanto, Johto, Hoenn, Sinnoh, and like one other region from some other game that I don't remember. But there's 5 regions, and it's going to be a giant open world RPG thing. So that really caught my attention. Oh, finally. But I don't know anything else beyond that. Project Seed just sounds freaking rad. Now, it sounded like also that, let's see, let's go here. That Gen 10 was supposed to have some RPG, some MMO RPG elements, because I think that's, sorry. So the Seed was supposed to be an MMO RPG, and Gen 10 was supposed to have that as well, a little bit of that, I think, kind of setting up what we can expect in a Pokemon MMO. So maybe, you know, that's a thing that can happen. But I think it seems to me that one of the reasons why Game Freak doesn't put a lot of effort in the design of the games is mainly because... Damn it. Mainly because everyone's going to buy the game anyway. So why put in tons of effort? Why make a game every 5, 6, 7, 8 years when you can do it every 2 years and make it look like butthole, and everyone's going to buy it anyway? So there's tons of money to be made from the games. And I think the game's primary purpose is to introduce new cute Pokemon so they can just sell more merchandise on those cute things. Because the games don't make a lot of money in the grand scheme, comparatively so to, you know, plushies and hoodies and other cute little toys and trinkets. So there really isn't like a huge incentive for them to do that. But I think Game Freak really wants to do something like that, because who wouldn't want to do something like really impressive that they're proud of, you know what I mean? but I don't know. But a lot of the leaks were just kind of like internal talks. There was also a conversation about the Gen 5 remakes for Black and White. So those things are coming, but they're not working on it right now. Nice. So one of the conversations was, I think there was an executive, I don't remember the name, but an executive was basically saying like, hey, we want to do remakes of Gen 5. We're not working on that now, but like we really want to wait to do it so we can put a lot of like time and effort and love and passion into that. So when we do eventually get to those remakes, because they'll be around at some point, you know, we want it to be perfect, is pretty much what he said. I'm paraphrasing. His quote is something similar. But the point is that like they want to do it. They're going to do it. When, they didn't say. Are they working on it now? No, but they will. It's on the table as far as a plan, and they want to remake that. And the whole thing is they really want to like do that generation justice, and then have players be able to experience it in such a great way. And I think that's one of the reasons why they probably don't want to re-release red, blue, yellow, gold, silver, crystal. Like they don't want to release. Yeah, there we go. Number 4. They don't want to release the original games prior to Gen 6, because if they do that, then my guess is they think that people won't buy the remakes, which I think is freaking dumb, because when Red and Blue came out and Yellow, I had them all. When Fire Red and Leaf Green came out, got those too. Like when you had Gold and Silver and Crystal, had all 3 of those. Like I just went to Japan and I bought a Japanese version of Crystal. Like so like I'm not above like I'm not the type where I'm gonna be like, okay, well I already played this game and they did a remake, I'm not gonna play that. I would never do that. I'd be like, hell yeah, remake of this, love the first one, but the original, I'll totally do the remake. So their logic is a little bit abstract there. I think there's money just sitting on the table. They could just emulate and release them on the Switch store, just like a collection is what they should do. Here's, the Gen 1 collection. Here's 3 games for $5. Here's a Gen 2 collection, 3 games for $5. Here's Gen 3, $5 for, whatever. That's what they should do. I'd buy them all in a heartbeat, without a doubt. Easy, easy, easy. But then, everything about them is with money, and Pokemon is the most financially successful franchise of all time. It dwarfs anything Disney's ever made, Star Wars, Marvel, all that. Pokemon makes bajillions of cotillions of dollars, like every breath that you take. So, it's not about making the best possible product, because I think the other thing is too, is while an MMO, I would absolutely like become a Poke MMO YouTuber. If they were going to do that, hell yeah. Absolutely. I would do that. I would stop playing other games and I would just do a complete MMO experience. And I would do walkthroughs and discussions and stuff on everything that we experience that. But I think that I have a feeling they'll cancel the games or that game, or we'll never see an actual, MMO, because people won't have time to play that and say like another Pokemon game, But I do also think that there are certain people that are MMO people, and there are people that are, casual gamers. So I think the MMO people would do the MMO thing, and I think the casual gamers would do the casual gamers thing, and then buy the the yearly releases or whatever. But there probably is some overlap, I would think, because I would probably do the MMO thing, and then I would look and be like, okay, like what are they doing for the yearly release? Do they connect in some way? Like, can my MMO and the yearly release talk to each other? Can I trade between those two platforms? Like, what does that look like? Because as far as I know, and please correct me if I'm wrong, Nintendo doesn't have any MMO systems, and Pokemon lends itself very well to that. But like, you can't play WoW on anything but a PC, right? You can't play Warframe on anything, Nintendo related. Like, it's available on every other platform mostly, I think. So like, I don't know what they're gonna do. MMO to me seems like sort of uncharted waters for them, unless there is an MMO out there that I didn't know, which is possible. I can't think of any, and I've never heard of one, so I don't know. But I think Pokemon definitely is the game to become the MMO, for sure. Like, they could certainly do that. If there was a shiny, if you were all shiny, I wouldn't deal with this shit again, because you guys are just gonna like knock each other out like dumbasses. So I would love to see the MMO situation someday. But really, like, I think everybody, Pokemon fans just want to see Nintendo hardware be strong enough to like support a Pokemon game that looks beautiful and looks detailed. And as far as I can tell, ZA does look the best. Like, I really loved Legends Arceus, but that game looked like butt. Visually, it was the worst game I've ever seen them make. Like, visually, it was just terrible. I did think that Scarlet and Violet, like, looked barely better, but it was also, like, Scarlet and Violet was a bigger disappointment. I had far more fun with Arceus than I did with Scarlet and Violet. Scarlet and Violet sucked. They did introduce some new Pokemon that I really liked. Ceruledge and Armarouge I really liked. Those are really cool. Their shinies are disappointing. They should have swapped colors instead of just, like, inverted the eyes in some way. That was really stupid. That was just a disappointment. Chi-Yu, or Tsi-Yu, as I've been told it's called. I really, really love that Pokemon, and the shiny of it is gorgeous. I think there's still time to reclaim all those Legends of Ruin, or whatever those are, the Pokemon of Ruin, those 4 shinies, including that. You can get all 4 of those through mystery gifts, so I grabbed all 4 of those. Stoked on that. Tsi-Yu is definitely a really cool shiny. Cool Pokemon and a cool shiny. Really like that a lot. So that's pretty sweet. But for the most part, Scarlet and Violet, lame experience. Didn't like the gym system. I didn't like the open world system. It was super boring. I didn't like the layout of anything. The only thing I thought that was really innovative was that you could climb walls with your Pokemon. I thought that was cool. Like, gliding with your Pokemon and then climbing walls with your Pokemon was dope. That was super duper helpful. But it seems like they took a lot of what worked in Scarlet and Violet and what worked in Arceus. They brought that over and did some really cool things in ZA, so I am looking forward to playing that. It'll be a little while until I get time to do that, but I am excited to that. It's more of a Christmas thing for me. I'm working on a few things, and I just don't have time for, you know, for any other games right now. But I think ZA will be dope. If you are playing ZA, please leave a comment and let me know if you've made it this far into the video. I really would like to know, like, what your perspective is on ZA, if you like it a lot, or if you don't, or, you know, if it's good, if it's bad, whatever. I've heard great things, so I'm actually really hoping for a shiny Torkoal here. And this has taken a while. We've only had 4 encounters, so we're now in the 50-minute mark. 52 minutes, roughly about. There it is. Nice. I knew it. Every 10 minutes you run into one seems to be the exact thing. So this is going to be like a 2-hour-long video. Level 70. Really, I just want to get to the Mewtwo thing, honestly. Because I want that, I think... let's see. Let me figure out if Mewtwo is shiny locked. Is Mewtwo... shiny locked X? Let's find out. Ah, it's not shiny locked. Okay, so the base odds are 1 in 4,096. Is there a shiny? Damn it. Can be soft reset for a shiny. So unlike Kanto, Birds, and XY, Mewtwo can be shiny hunted legitimately in Pokemon X and Y. The fastest method is a soft reset for it. Yeah. So I'm stoked on that. So we'll get a shiny Mewtwo for show. But it does seem like that one of the best ways to like get the shinies that you want is to just get a DS that supports like an earlier action replay if you have it, like I do, but I don't have the right DS. And then yeah, just shiny cheat your way through that, assuming that you've got Pokemon Bank. If you don't have Pokemon Bank, you're not getting any Pokemon from X to Y, or X and Y up to Pokemon Home, which really sucks. I got lucky that I had downloaded it, I think, and it's just on my 3DS XL, so I'm really excited about that. But like, if you don't already have it like I do, you'll never be able to download it again. Not through any sort of legitimate means. I don't even know if you can through illegitimate means do it. I don't think that you can. Which sucks. I do think what they should do is at least introduce a cable, like do a hard cable, like a physical cable that can somehow USB-C connect to Switch to whatever the analog connection is on the, assuming it's analog, to a 3DS or a DS. Like they need to make those cables and like an adapter for it for, you know, whatever versions of DS. But I think Nintendo really just wants to give their players and their fans, they middle finger them so hard, so often that I honestly just don't think they give a flying fuck about us at all. Like I really don't. I don't see Nintendo giving a crap about us at all. There's so many great games that they've just left behind, which I think are insane. And granted, there's a couple... Here we go, 6, baby. Granted, there are a handful of games that you can play through their subscription service, through like their emulation or whatever, but like, dude, that sucks. Remake GoldenEye, and remake Ocarina of Time, remake Majora's Mask. Like release their current versions like as a digital download and then remake them. Could you imagine? God, I would lose my mind if they had a if they did a remake of Ocarina of Time. I'm gonna switch this out actually. I'm gonna put Scizor up front. Like I can't fathom why you wouldn't want to do something like that. Granted, I think they do want to move forward with their, you know, Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom. I think there's a third one coming. I think there's a trilogy plan for that, I think. But like Twilight Princess, I want to play that on my channel sometime soon. Never got a chance to play that either. I don't think I had a GameCube, and I do have one now. It's sitting on the shelf right back here. You can't see it, I don't think. Yeah, I think it's just out of view. But I do have a black GameCube sitting here. And I never got a chance to play Twilight Princess. I think I stopped playing my GameCube when it came out or something. I don't remember what the situation was, but whatever the case was, is I wasn't able to play it, and then I just never got around to it after that fact. Because there was a period in my life where like I was really big into video games, and then I stopped, and then I got really into it again after I like built my PC. Because as a kid, I was a console gamer, and then I built my PC a handful of times, and that's where I've been playing most of my games since then. And then I got really into connecting, you know, like I've got a PlayStation 3 sitting here on my desk, I've got a PlayStation 5 right next to it, and then I got my PC, and then I've got my Switch like right here. You can see just the corner of it. I got my Switch there with the watermelon paddles, or Joy-Cons rather, the pink and green, which I think are freaking awesome. Those are the coolest colors they ever did. And I wanted to get ZA, but I'm wondering if maybe it's not worth getting it. Well, I don't remember if you buy ZA, if it's backwards compatible on Switch 2, and if you pay for the upgrade, it's like $10 for it to get the Switch 2 version. I'm assuming that's probably the case. But I don't really want to buy a Switch 2 until the prices come down, because the tariff nonsense is just ridiculous. I want to make sure the tariffs come down so it's not as expensive. And maybe they won't. I have a feeling that the tariffs not only suck, but I think that if that does ever get resolved, I do think that Nintendo, Microsoft, Sony, they're probably just going to be like, oh, well, oops, sorry, we're just going to keep the prices this high because we're jerks and we're greedy. So that's probably what they're going to do. But I also want them to come up with like maybe a Nintendo Switch 2 Pro, you know, like they had the OLED screen for the Nintendo Switch, the white version, the one with the white paddles on it, or Joy-Cons. They're going to do that too. Every console has always had like a Pro, Elite, a Slim, or like some sort of super version. So I don't mind waiting a little while until Switch 2 does that. Because also, I don't like the all-black console with like the blue and orange accents. Like, I think that's really ugly. I do not like that visually. And like the console, at a certain point, like it's too freaking big and it's too heavy. Like, you can't be as big as an iPad, but as heavy as a PlayStation 5, which I over-exaggerate, but you get my point. Like, it's just too big. Like, the Switch 1 is a pretty good size, I think. Maybe they could change it a little bit, because I have big hands, and so it kind of hurts my hands to, like, you know, be on such a cramped device for too long. But I just think the Switch 2 is just too heavy for long-term use. Granted, I think a lot of the playthroughs that I would do would probably be, you know, for YouTube, so I probably wouldn't be holding it in my hand that much, but like the whole point is portability, right? It's amazing that we haven't seen two of the same shiny yet. That's crazyville. So I think I'll wait until they remodel the Switch 2. And then, but by the time that happens, my guess is they'll probably be having the PlayStation 6 at the same time. That's my guess. But I do think that if I was going to buy a Switch 2 before they remade it or had an upgraded version that was like a Pro or a Slim or whatever, or like a PlayStation or a Switch 2 Lite or whatever, something like that, I want colors. I want colors. I think the paddles are hideous. So I'll wait. I'll wait a little while. See if they have something coming. I have a feeling that there will be probably decent discounts for bundles probably around Christmas time, but like the black and the orange and the blue is just a really ugly color combination for me. So I'm not really interested in spending $500 on a console that I don't absolutely love. The PlayStation 5 was an exception. PlayStation 5 is by far like the ugliest console that's ever been made ever. It's hideous. The design philosophy behind it is just garbage. There is no logic behind why it has like the little ear fin things on it, how it's not like symmetrical on both sides. Like it's just bad. It's just bad all around. It's just not a good design at all. It's truly awful. And you know, you can think it looks cool, but like it can look cool to you in your opinion and factually also look like shit, because that's what it does. It looks horrible, but you can like it if you want. You know, people like Adam Sandler movies, doesn't make them good, you know. So my point is that I feel like, you know, hopefully the PlayStation 6 goes back to like a more logical design, because like the PlayStation 2 was probably peak design because it had a shape that made it easy to sit up, like either upright or on its side, landscape or portrait mode, and you could put it, you know, in a lot of different places that made it super easy. It was the design was accommodating to like where your TV was, your shelf design, like shelf layout and everything. It was very easy for it to fit in with the pre-existing like ecosystem of devices and products and you know, center consoles. The PlayStation 5 is not that. Its shape and its design is just shit all around, awful. From an aesthetic perspective, there is no professional designer or artist that would look at that and just say, yeah, this is amazing. They just wouldn't, because it's not. But at the same time, like the Xboxes are a little bit more along that design philosophy with the architecture and how it's accommodating, because they're square and they're, you know, they sit upright and whatever, and how they work that way. And those are ugly as hell. But I do think the PlayStation 4 had a little bit of a compromise where it looked really good, and it also, you know, had some, you know, it had some innovative designs with like some of the sharp ramped edges, but it also maintained more of a square rectangular shape to slide, you know, under a TV or on a shelf or off to the side, maybe between some books, or put it, you know, near your DVD collection, and it just kind of fit. So I'm hoping that PlayStation 6 goes for that. I don't want any more of this. I don't want to see another PlayStation 5 design. Because even like they were saying that the design's purpose for PlayStation 5 was to sit upright like this. And like this, it falls over because it doesn't have the right balance. You have to have, there's like a stand thing that you have to put like a little pole to like hold it up so it doesn't fall over. Which is just ridiculous. And the funny thing is about that too, is it reminds me, is like, the PC GPUs are also struggling with that now, is that instead of trying to be innovative with like the form factors of GPUs, they're just make them fat and big, as heavy as possible. And then when you do that, the PCI slots, there's a lot of strain and stress on that. Like you have the two like screws or however many, 2 or 3 screws that hold it in, like in the ports, like in the ventilation in the port side. And then you have the PCI slots that just like it'll bend and break. So you have to put a stand in there to hold the GPU up on the other end so that way it doesn't fall down, which I think is just ridiculous. Like it's not as big of a deal, but at the same time, like it's just, it's just bad. It's just bad design. What the hell's going on? Why? Let me the fuck out of here. What the fuck was that? Well, there's a stat or something that makes it so that you can't get away, right? Is that the idea? Come on with this. Why? See it. Jesus. Come on, game. I'm only 6 encounters in, and we're 1 hour into this so far. Dude, just get me out. I don't know, there's some really poorly designed sub-menu thing going on there that it's gonna rip my hair out. See, if it wasn't for this menu problem, I'd be able to track down this Moltres far more easily. It would shave down a lot of time. But I'm not going to put you through that, and I don't want to put myself through that. That's just nutso. All right, so I think if there's 2 encounters and you don't run into it, I'm dipping. Still no shiny on the Durant. Durant, huh? I don't really care about the shiny Geodude. Like, I don't really like that shiny that much. Like, it's fine, but whatever. If there was a shiny Graveler, maybe I catch it. But I'm not going to go for another shiny Geodude. Sandflash is kind of cool. Aron was really cool. I do think that Durant would be a cool one to have. I don't really care about anything else in here. Or sorry, I said Aron. Lyron, excuse me. Aron is the base one. Aron, Lyron, and Aggron, I think, is the final one. Still haven't encountered a shiny Aron. I kind of just want to call it Aaron. Torkoal actually is the one that I do want. I forget what it looks like, but I remember I liked it. I don't remember what it looks like, but I remember I liked it. Yeah, I would love if Nintendo just respected its player base and was like, hey, like, there's a lot of games that, you know, we want to bring some life to. Some of them are going to be in the form of remakes down the road. And other ones are going to be, you know, we're going to port them over to the Switch. Like, it'd be really nice if Nintendo just invested in a team that was designated to just porting games over. Not through, like, crappy emulation or crappy ports, but, like, actually put in the effort. Like, really do it. Really do it for us. The Pokemon Company could at least afford to do it for the Pokemon games. I don't think there's any excuse there. But I just don't think it's fair. Like, if there's no modern way to play these games, then I think there should be a law that's like, hey, like, if you don't sell current, like, devices, equipment, or hardware in the technology space to support old products, then those products legally can be emulated without any sort of, like, you know, any sort of gripes or legal action taken by Nintendo. Because, like, if you can't play a game, if you don't sell it anymore, then there's no way for you to lose money on it if someone emulates it. You know what I mean? So I think that should be a law, personally. You don't sell the product, so people should be able to, you know, emulate it. Because I think if you don't sell it, then you don't probably support it, I would think. And if you don't support it, then that means that it's now public domain. I think there's probably some exceptions to that. I'm not like a legal person, but, like, I do feel like that would be fair. Come on, dude. The problem is with these wild roamers like this is, like, it doesn't go in order. It's not going to route 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then all the way, you know, to 18 where I'm at. It might go route 1, route 17, route 15, route 1 again, route 15, route 12, route 15 again. Like, it might just be bouncing around on, like, another set of spots, you know? And, like, the other problem is that we're running into 2 different encounters per patch of grass, and typically the first or second one is going to be that legendary roamer, but it might not be. You know, what if it's the third one? What if we've already, like, missed several opportunities to run into Moltres and it was, like, already, you know, the third encounter or the fourth planned encounter here? I don't really know how the game design, like, works with that. I really don't know. But I was also thinking too, like, do I want to edit this down? And, like, you know, I've had some thoughts. We've shared some ideas and stuff like that. We're more than halfway through. Do I want to edit it down? Like, I could, but I'm probably not gonna. Like, I just don't. I don't know. I don't expect, like, this video isn't entertaining to the point where I feel like anyone's really gonna watch it to the end. If you made it this far, if you've made it an hour in and you're hearing me say this, let me know in the comments. I'd be very surprised if there was a lot of you that did. And I'm not going to be insulted if you didn't. Totally fine. This is a long video. We're talking about all sorts of random things, many of which don't have any direct relation to what we're trying to accomplish here, you know. But after we catch Mewtwo over in that, on that island or wherever that was at, then, sorry, Moltres over on that island, then we're going after Mewtwo and then Zygarde, and then I'll probably be done. Because I think that there were some, I think there was some gifts. Oh my god. right, we're gonna put Charizard up front because there's no way we're gonna deal with that a second or a third time, excuse me. So we're gonna go ahead and switch. I only put Scizor up front because I thought it would be ideal to have him, you know, ready to go with False Swipe. But I'll put Charizard out, and then if there's a shiny, then we'll go Jolteon for Thunder Wave, and then we'll go Scizor for the kill, or for the False Swipe stitch. Heatmore has an interesting shiny. I like the color palette of it, but Heatmore is a disgusting Pokemon. Like, it's got a colostomy bag sticking out. Like, what in the hell is this? Like, who designed this? That is like the most like trash design. I think Heatmore is probably the worst designed Pokemon of all time. There's a lot of Pokemon I don't like, and a lot of Pokemon that I think are terrible designs, but Heatmore is by far the worst Pokemon design ever made. And Sandslash is like perfect. And not because it's Gen 1 thing. It's just, it's super simple. It's clean. Like, there's no criticisms for it. You don't have to like it. You don't have to love it. You don't have to have it on your team. You don't have to be a fan of ground Pokemon or whatever. But, like, his design is fantastic. Torkoal, for example. Fantastic Pokemon design. Fantastic. But Heatmore, for some reason, just looks gross. It's just a gross design in that little, like... I don't know why it has an umbilical cord sticking out and it goes like back into its own asshole. Like, I have no idea. Like, what is the point of that? What you're pooping into your own stomach. I don't understand. The whole thing is just gross. There's no logic or reason behind that design, and whoever designed that should be removed from the company, and whoever approved that should be sent to jail, I think. But Sandslash, symmetrical, beautiful design. Makes perfect sense. It's a ground type Pokemon. Sand, Slash, the, you know, little toothy claw hands or whatever. It's just perfect. Can't complain about that. Girder, I don't like Pokemon that carry objects like this, because I feel like, where are they getting those objects from, you know? Like, you have a Pokemon, like, his base form, I forget what it is. I can picture it, but I can't remember the name. And then Girder evolves into Conkeldurr, but I can't remember what the base one is. But the base one doesn't carry anything. Immediately it evolves, and then all of a sudden it's carrying a giant steel beam, like from a construction site. Dude, what the fuck? That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense. And like that, like Hitmonchan bothers me, for example, too. Like, Hitmonlee's dope because he looks like a giant chicken nugget with legs and arms. It's not a great design, but whatever. Hitmonchan is a cool design, but like, where'd you get the tutu, bro? You were Tyrogue before, and then all of a sudden, bam, Hitmonchan tutu. Like, where'd you get the tutu? Ugh, disgusting little bastard this thing is. Like, I don't understand where the clothes come from. Like, sock and throw, where'd you get the karate gis, man? Like, you know, are those your flesh? Did you guys just find these? Like, are you guys given these outfits? Like, where are you guys finding this stuff? I don't understand. Makes no sense to me. Terrible, terrible designs. And then what's that, what is the blue koala Pokemon? That one that carries that, that like little, is it a drum or like a tree stump type thing? I forget what it is, but he carries that. And like, the shiny thing in that, when the shiny form, it's the object that he's holding that's shiny. That's terrible. What is that BS? Disgusting. Not disgusting, that's not the right word, but it's terrible. Like, why is the blue Pokemon not shiny, but the object that's carrying it is? Are you serious? Like, isn't Tinkaton, like that family of Pokemon, also the same thing too, where they're all pink, but like the hammer's a different color? Like, that's also terrible. Where are you guys finding like different colored hammers and stuff? Like, your entire lineage of Pokemon is based around, you know, going to the hardware store, getting this big ass hammer for some reason, all the same brand, I guess, Big DeWalt fans or something, I don't know. And then randomly, for some reason, some shiny one, it's just a normal Tinkaton or whatever that just like happened to go to like the discount aisle or something like that and found like a shiny version of it. Like, what? I don't understand. I don't get it. It doesn't make sense. I don't know. I think Pokemon as a concept, like, obviously it's super fun and silly and whatever. They go through a lot of like work on the lore for all this. But, you know, whoever decided Girder needed to look like Pogo the Clown and then also have a freaking steel beam is like insane. But like, you're gonna have all this really dark lore about Pokemon like kidnapping children and like draining their souls and life force, and like some Pokemon like the Drifblim, whatever, one of those like ghost balloon Pokemon, like it attracts Pokemon because it's like a balloon, like an it-style thing, and then it floats away with the child, and like you never see that child again. Like that is terrifying. You're telling me that you have lore around these Pokemon designs, but like, and what like their whole history is and what they do. You're telling me that's a thing, but you can't explain where Hitmonchan got his freaking tutu. Like what? Doesn't make any sense. And also, like, Hitmonchan's shiny, the only thing cool about it is the gloves. Like, his body changes, and I'm pretty sure his tutu changes to, like, a really ugly, like, dark green, like, smashed pea color. But the gloves are typically, which are typically red as boxing gloves, they turn blue. And I'm like, that's a really cool shiny thing. But, like, this is an accessory. That's not its flesh. Like, those are, he bought those from, like, the UFC store, down the road. Like, what do you... I don't even understand. Oh, it's a horde encounter, but there's different Pokemon here. That's gross. You better let me go. I don't know. Those sorts of things really just bother the hell out of me. Come on, number 7. Let's get there. We're an hour and 15 minutes into this now. I feel like there's certain things that, can be improved. Explain it a little better. Don't give the Pokemon human things like Machamp, or like the Machop. Okay, you're naked with no genitals, whatever. And then Machoke, all of a sudden the dude gets freaking underwear and like a championship belt. And then Machamp, same thing. Like, dude, where are you guys getting the Speedos? Like, what's the deal? And also, if you guys are going to be wearing underwear like that, like, is there one of you guys out there that like went to the store and they were out of that particular underwear and you bought like a thong? Like, what if one of them likes to go shopping at Victoria's Secret? You don't know. Of course, the idea of Machamp shopping at Victoria's Secret to buy a thong. Put that on the bingo card for things I didn't think that I was going to be talking about today. But that's a thing, right? You've got, you've got underwear. And then, oh, sorry, like, I guess all the Machoke and Machamp, came in and we had a sale. They bought all the underwear. And also, too, do they wash them? Like, are those things, like, if it's not flesh, if that's underwear, like, do you wash them? Like, where does Machamp take his underwear to, like, wash that thing? Because you look at a buff guy like Machoke or Machamp and stuff, like, they're taking some juices to get up to, to get up that big, right? A lot of protein. And if you've had a protein shake before and you've had a lot of protein, you know about protein farts. Trust me. Protein farts, all right? You get a little, eventually you have too much protein, it goes from fart to shart. So those things, ain't no way those things are clean. And I don't know if there's like a Pokemon dry cleaners or something like that. But at a certain point, if you see a Machamp sharding itself because it had too much protein that day, just toss them. Don't even wash them. Don't even wash them. Could you imagine the shart coming from a Machamp? Lord. That is one filthy, dirty set of underpants. But I do think too that if you're in a town that has like a fighting gym and you've got trainers coming in there that are, holed up in the gym to support the gym leader, to do its fighting thing, there's gonna be a lot of Machoke in there. Gonna be a lot of Machamp. There's gonna be a lot of Hitmonchan. There's gonna be a lot of Primeape. Another Pokemon that wears boxing gloves. So, if you were in a town that was themed around fighting Pokemon due to the gym, you could open up shop and sell Machamp underwear, maybe a cleaning service for their shart underwear pants. You could sell tutus. You could sell, sock and throw sized gis. You could sell, boxing gloves for Hitmonchan and for Primeape. Like there's just so much that you could do with that. Now that I think about it, it does seem like not all, but almost every Pokemon that has like some human accessory is a fighting type. Because I think Tinkaton, what is it? Is it fighting and fairy, or is it just fairy? Because it's pink, but I don't know what it is. Because you can't have that hammer and not be a fighting type. Oh, it's fairy and steel. Now the hammer itself, actually looking at Tinkaton, so there's Tinkatuff, Tinkaton, and Tinkatink. So they all have different hammers. Tinkatink is the little one. So Tinkatink, Tinkaton, and then Tinkatuff. Which one is it? Yeah, so Tinkaton is the top one, the hammer Pokemon. Tinkatuff is also a hammer Pokemon. Tinkatink is the metalsmith Pokemon. So that's interesting. So that actually, there could be some lore there. So if Tinkatink, the first form, is a metalsmith, then that suggests that it has the ability to weld and create these hammers, because Tinkatink has a club, not a hammer. And then from there, you end up going to Tinkaton, or Tinkatuff and Tinkaton, who have massive hammers. So they make their own. Okay, so that one's good. So that one's okay. So they find steel and they bend it. Now, from a Pokemon design gaming standpoint, it would be far too difficult to have every single Tinka have a different club or hammer, because they make their own. So they use the same model. I get that. Still, doesn't justify the fact that, like, sometimes the hammers are shiny to indicate the shiny Pokemon or the shiny form. That's annoying. But I'll give him a pass on that. I'll give him a pass on that. So those aren't human-made hammers. It looks like the base form creates a club, and as it evolves, it you know, throws more steel onto the hammer and then forms its own variation of it. So, okay, I can give respect to that. I can give respect to that. Or at least, if that's not the case, that's my headcanon. So I'm going to go with that. I respect that. I'm good with that. Still on 6 Moltres encounters, by the way. An hour and 20 minutes in. I think I don't want to edit this because I want to leave it at... I want you guys to see what the pain is for this. So this is going to take a really long freaking time. But we will get there. It's going to probably take me all night to find this whole piece of shit. But yeah, still, there's no explanation for, you know, Hitmonchan and Machoke and Machamp and Primeape and all that. There's no logic behind where they get their gloves and where they get their underwear and their tutus and stuff. Just no. No, I don't buy that. I don't buy that. Okay, if it's not 2 encounters, then we go. I do want to test something, though. So I've noticed that the menu throughout my playthrough here has a tendency to get a little jank if we're in an area that has a lot of animation to it. So you have, like, the tree here. There's trainers here. There's a lot of visual identity to this particular area. But if I'm in here, the menu is probably easier to deal with. But if I go to the Pokedex in here, let's find out if it's not as bad. Oh, it's right on Moltres, actually. Shoot, I should have thought about this. This is going to take a minute, but it saves a little bit of time. Okay, so where are you? I don't see it here. Do you see that anywhere? There's nothing on this. Wait, what is... So it's its cry, not its location. What does this do? Compare Moltres. I see. It's still a little slow. It's not very responsive here, but... Is there... There's nothing on the screen here that indicates where it's at. I don't see an object on here. Yeah, oh, it's the route. So that's it. So it's not an icon, it's the route, which means... Gotcha, I didn't notice that was it. Got it. Okay, let's try this. Let's see if we can do this a little... If the Pokedex entry is going to be a pain like this, we might be able to at least shave a few different, like, encounters. Holy shit. Come on. Still, I stand by what I said about Hitmonchan's too. Problem is, though, is, like, now that we're here, the Pokedex, National, and then it goes super duper slow. Okay, I heard the noise, so the selection is there. It's staying there. Are you seeing this? So it looks to me like it's staying in one spot for a little while. Okay, so maybe... Shoot. Let's go check that out. Let's go see if we can fly over there. Because I'm wondering if you can go, like... Maybe it takes a few different, like, route transitions for it to actually go someplace else. Because the fact that it's still there is a little weird to me. I think there's a faster way to do this. I wouldn't normally do it like this, but it's the sheer fact that the game slows down. So let's go use a move. Let's go to fly. So you are here. Route 15, which is connected to Dan. I want to heal up anyway. We took a little bit of damage and some power points are out. Instead of it coming to us, maybe we go after it a little bit. We found six encounters doing it this way. But I am a little nervous that this transition isn't going to work for us, so we'll see how it goes. Heal up. Because again, to be clear, if you're in this video this far, which I'd be surprised if you were, there are faster ways. I wish that there was a way to register this though. Pokedex, like just the Moltres one and the the fact that I have to load in all these different screens sucks. Like I'd very much like to just hit a button and then pull up his location. You piece of shit. It's at 4, so this is Santaloon. It's not gonna work. So if we go to Santaloon, it won't work because we'll transition to Santaloon and then it'll be gone. Yeah, just change some scenery here and go somewhere else. Oh my god, come on. All right, let's go. Pokedex. No, did not mean to do that. Excuse me. Pokemon, not Zdex. Okay, we're gonna go to. Not that again. Sorry. Route 4 is here. Where was I at? I was at Route 18. So there's Route 1, 14, 13, 12. Where was I at for that? Route 20, 21, 22, 4, 2, 1, 19, 17. So was this it right here? Yeah, so because we went to Anastar. That's what it was. I think we're just going to stick here. I don't think there's going to be a better way. I know it sucks kind of just like going into the grass and dealing with it that way, but just how it is. Let's do a safety save because we're at 6. In case my game explodes or something, you never know. I think this is a pretty decent spot to be in. We've had fair luck. But it looks like there's 2 transitions before it shows up in your spot. That's what it looks like to me. Problem is you fly there, that takes care of 1 transition, and then you walk out the gate into the grassy area that takes care of 2. If there was a way to fly directly to a spot that had grass, that would be fine. But I don't think that there is. I don't think that there's a spot that you can fly directly to, and then there's just grass there. So we're just going to have to deal. Plus, this at least gives me the opportunity to farm for shinies a little bit. I really want that Torkoal. Heatmore I'll catch if it's there, but it's disgusting. It's a gross little creature. I don't know. Everything about the design, from standing on its back feet, to its like lines on its body, to its umbilical cord, colostomy bag thing, like it's all bad. It's all not good. Yeah, I can't forgive anyone who ever came up with that. I wish that there was like some sort of thing where the like Game Freak and the Pokemon Company, I wish they were a little bit more like transparent about like, hey, this is the designer who made this Pokemon, and you know, here's the designer who came up with the shiny version, and you know, here's all this, just so I have a way to target my anger, you know? Like, who's the a-hole who made Heatmore? Like, who can I send strongly worded letters to? You know, I wouldn't condone like harassing anybody on social media in any form, right? But I do think like if I found out who came up with Heatmore, I would write an email to them like, dude, what were you thinking? Like, how did you come up with this? And who wrote off on signed off on this and said, yeah, this is good? Because they're wrong. You're wrong. They're wrong. You know. But I'd imagine there's probably a lot of Pokemon designers that make just a handful of Pokemon. Like, just there's probably walls and walls and walls, stacks and stacks and stacks of sketches, and they probably bring them over, and some executive probably sits there and he's like, all right, this one should give me a finalized version, or take it to the next level. Let's see what it looks like. You know, put some color on this little sketch that you've got there for dozens of them, and then, you know, of that, dozens of those get scrapped, and only a few of them make it to a certain finalization probably, and they're like, okay, like this one, no. Like, what element would this be? Okay, we can't do that because that breaks the balancing of the game, so give me a water or electric type. You know, we haven't had one of those in a while or something, it says. And then so you pull out one of your designs and you are like, okay, maybe this wasn't necessarily meant to be a water or electric type, but I can alter it to make it, you know, have fins or something, or maybe it's got some like thunderbolt looking ears or whatever, and then they make it, and you know, and then it goes from there. And then it probably gets brought to the table, and then they're like, okay, give me a final draft of it, show me exactly what your vision for this design is. And then that artist and tons of other artists probably all do the same. And then making it to the last round, they're like, all right, you know, there's 20 different Pokemon here. You know, we need one Pokemon of all this, and it probably gets thrown away. Somehow, the motherfucking Heatmore made it past all of that, and then ended up, like, you know, in the game. Can you believe that? There's so many Pokemon that were like beta designs that never made it to an actual Pokemon game. There were like, there's what was it? The baby version of Vulpix never made it to the game. Raichu had an evolution that never made it to the game, which it doesn't need anymore because you have Pikachu, and Raichu, which is 3 forms. No Pokemon has a 4th form unless it's a Mega Evolution, and Raichu has 2 Mega Evolutions coming in the DLC, X and Y version of Raichu in his Mega form, which is pretty cool. But like, they're not going to give you like another evolutionary stage for it. And I think actually its evolutionary stage, they sort of took the design of like the like alpha or beta version of like Raichu's scrapped evolutionary stage, and they split that like its design features into each of the Mega Evolutions. So if you combine both X and Y Mega Evolutions that we have yet to obtain, and you smush them together like 2 different colors of Play-Doh and mix it together somehow, like that's basically the 3rd stage of Pikachu, because this was before Pichu. I think it was like the red, blue, yellow era. It was like before Gold and Silver, I think. But like, you had a baby Vulpix thing, there was a baby Arcanine, or you had like a baby Growlithe, so there was there was like a Pichu version of Growlithe, like all those things. You scrapped all that stuff so we can get freaking Heatmore. Now, I hate Heatmore's design so much, obviously. So I've never wanted to use it in a battle before. I wonder how it is competitively. Because like some of the Pokemon that I dislike the least are constantly, you know, chosen Pokemon among very talented and skilled trainers that make it really, really far in championships. So I wonder, like, you know, is it possible that some of these Pokemon just look terrible for, you know, whatever reason, which normally would be subjective, but objectively Heatmore is disgusting and terrible, and I'm not gonna hear anything else about it. It's that bad. And I wonder, like, you know, does it have like a moveset that just really lends itself super well to the competitive scene? Like, I really don't know. Because I also, like, the thing is like, I'm one of those people where I'm not that competitive, you know? Like, I do things for fun and then entertain and amuse myself. I'm not really a competitive person. And, you know, for better or for worse, that's just how my personality is. But if I was competitive, I'd have to be honest with myself and say that I would use the best Pokemon for the job if I was playing Pokemon competitively. But because I am the way that I am, I want to tell myself that there is absolutely no chance that I would ever use Heatmore, even if it was part of a legendary god tier guaranteed championship winning thing. No, I would. I probably would. Let's be honest, I would. I would have a hard time accepting the fact that Heatmore wouldn't be part of it. I couldn't bring myself to accept that Heatmore has the potential to be a good team member, you know? It's just so ugly. I will imagine, though, that being on the Pokemon design team, as difficult as it is, like, come up with the design of the Pokemon and, like, the elements and stuff, it's even harder to come up with, like, the move sets. Like, what moves that you can learn, what moves that you can't learn. Like, we have to create new moves every generation as well, and how does that fit into the overall, like, balancing of it? And then you have new types, you know? It was probably really hard in Gen 2 when they introduced Steel and Dark type, but then since then, you know, you've created subtypes, and, like, every Pokemon has, like, 1 or 2 types now, and then, you know, and there was a little bit of that in the first generation of games, but it just became more and more complex. You've added more Pokemon and more types, and now you're combining the types, and, you know, then you added the fairy type. And I'd be curious to know if they were ever going to do another element. Like, what else is there? I really don't know what else you could do. You know, you have the dark type, and that seems, I want to say, diametrically opposed to psychic, but psychic isn't exactly what I would call light. Like, so maybe you could do a light type thing. You know, I think a light type, but I don't know like that they would ever want to do that because I feel like a light type would probably overlap with fire and electricity and other things. Like I don't know what you would really have as light, you know. There's too many other elements that kind of blend in with that. I can't think of anything else. Because like you have the ice type, and like I've seen other games, like other fan-made games, like they'll call it the frost type, you know, or like instead of fire, it's the flame type or the burn type or whatever. But like, I don't think that you can really call that a different type. It's just, it's the same thing with a different name. You know, you've got rock and ground, which I feel like are the same thing, almost, in my opinion. Like, they're so close that I don't know. I'm surprised that there's two different types for that, but it's always been that way. Water and ice, that's another one that I feel like is very similar, but I understand that one deserves to be separate, you know, just because it's a different manipulation of the element, you know. A Pokemon that's good at water doesn't necessarily mean it's good at dealing with ice and vice versa. But like, it's kind of like the Avatar thing. Like in Avatar, you have, you know, rock, ground, and steel all as part of like the earthbenders. And then fire, you also have electricity for the firebenders. And then water, they also do have ice for the waterbenders. And then air, I think, is just air. Like, you know, so there's not really a whole lot of diversity with that one. But I don't know. I can't think of any other possible element. Like, you could make up something that's not an element. Like, you have dragons, you know, which is a type, but it's not an element, but it sort of is. So you could do, like, I don't know, let's create a new type and call it demon or something. But I guess, like, you could probably have, like, dark in that, you know. I just really don't know. I've thought about it, and I can't justifiably come up with an element that doesn't already have a pretty solid foothold in the Pokemon games. I just don't know that there is one. Flying and normal and dragon and fire and water and ice and electric and ground. There's just so many. Can't think of anything else. Like fighting and, you know, I just don't know. I don't think there's anything else. Dude, we haven't run into this thing in a while. And I just don't know that there's a good way to do this. I honestly, if we somehow don't run into all 10 in 2 hours, then I will quit. I will quit this. I will quit. This is not fun, and it's mainly the menu dealing with that. Like that, if you're playing the game, you get, you know, what you got to do here. I just don't want to do that. I was wondering too, though, if I edit the game, would it trigger? Hey, I was wondering if you're gonna run into this. Would it trigger that Moltres? Like if I just said guaranteed encounter. I don't want to use fly on him. Let's go. No, Jolteon won't work. Scizor, Alakazam for it. Scizor would probably be okay. Like if I can edit the game just to like guaranteed run into a wild Moltres encounter about like a handful of times, is it like, does that work? I have no idea. That's kind of a cool move. All right, let's do this. Let's do, I think Night Slash might be too strong. Let's try Air Slash. Maybe that might be too much. I'm not sure. We'll see. Let's see what we can do. Let's see. Seriously, I mean... Let's see. Let's see. Fight. I almost ran because I was thinking. Let's see. So the game, so it says there might not be a way for me to run into it using a cheat. The official roaming Moltres is chosen as the encounter for that route. It appears and flees immediately. The game is tracking its state as a roaming legendary, not just number of Moltres battles. So that might be... So you can't just do that. If you use a cheat that just spawns a normal wild Moltres, not the flagged roamer, then it would not be the same Moltres. Oh wow. Perfect catch. Object the game is tracking and almost certainly will not increase the 10 encounter counter. Even worse, defeating catching that fake Moltres could possibly break the script and make the real event unable to trigger. which makes sense. The only way to even try it without ruining the save would be to duplicate back up the save and try it again. Try it out. See if the cheat spawn Moltres makes Pokédex area active or not. Yeah, on a normal cart, you can't save the test without risking the flag being permanently messed up. Yeah, don't cheat this one is what it says. So yeah, I tend to agree, actually. That does seem like that would make sense to me. But yeah, we have 20 minutes to run into this thing 4 more times. And then I give up. If we don't run into it, then I will title the video, I give up on Moltres. Just not going to bother. I think then what we'll do is we'll go after Mewtwo, and then we'll go after Zygarde, and then we move on. The Moltres, or the Mewtwo one will actually be fun, because that one's not shiny locked, so we can actually have a good time there. My recording right now is 1 hour 40 minutes and 30 some odd seconds. I also trim like the intro a little bit and I readjust that. Oops. So I'll probably, yeah, we'll go 2 minutes and maybe 30 seconds. I think is probably where, or sorry, 2 hours, excuse me, 2 hours and 30 seconds is as far as I'm willing to go. In which case I'm over this nonsense. I'm getting upset with this thing. It's just not fun, and I want to move on. I just don't have that much time to dedicate to this, you know? Because I wanna be. There's only 2 other episodes with this playthrough left, and one is Mewtwo, one is Zygarde, and then I'm done with Pokemon X. I'll move on to something else. I just don't want to deal with it. I really don't even care about this that much. Like, the whole purpose of this was just to do it, and then to show you, like, how much of a pain that it is. I really thought we would be done by now. I thought an hour and a half would be, like, enough time, but it is just... That is not it. Okay, we'll do one more encounter here just to make sure. The fact that we haven't seen it again is really weird. We just get crazy lucky for the 6, and then that was it. I don't know. It's been 6 for a long time. It is crazy to me that we've been here for 2 hours, well, hour and 42 minutes, and we have not seen a duplicate shiny. No Torkoal and no Heatmore either. No Graveler either, actually. I do want this one. I want to say that it's kind of a yellow, like an orangish yellow. Like, it's distinct, you can tell. I want to say that's the color. Let me take a look, I'm curious. Shiny Torkoal. What does it look like? Oh, yeah, that is a really cool one. Yeah, so his body is yellow and his, is his shell the same? Yeah, the shell is a different color too. So his shell by default is orange. And the, or sorry, excuse me, is the gray, the dark gray, like the ash gray. But its shiny version is kind of an orangish red, kind of like a really light orange red, almost like a coral type of color, maybe. It's pretty nice. I like that. It's a cool shiny. I want you. I want you. I don't want you, though. The John Wayne Gacy of Pokemon. Get out of here. Like, I understand the name Girder lends itself to the Steel Beam. I get that's the point of it. But, like, I can't forgive you. Where did you get the beam, dude? Like, if you're in the middle of a desert and there's, like, no man-made constructs anywhere and you evolve and all of a sudden somehow you have a freaking steel beam in your hands, I'm gonna ask questions. Or even hiding that thing. Come on, dude. Actually, we can go. Let's just dip. I do think we probably would have found it by now if the game didn't have some sort of lag issue. The mods on here definitely screwed up something, but I can't reverse it now, so there's no reason to even try. It's just one of those things that we got to live with, and I'm okay with that. Come on, Shiny Torkoal would make me feel better about this. It's taken so long to even, like, run into that. Which, you know, whatever. I mean, it's a 1 in 100 chance now, so, like, obviously, this is the first worldest shiny problem you could possibly ever have. But that doesn't change the fact that it's not annoying. God, could you imagine a 1 in 4,000 some odd chance, 4,096 chances to run into a shiny Torkoal here if you were doing it the normal way? And also, what's up with you? We've had horde encounters of you multiple times and still nothing. Okay, one more. I am convinced, though, that there's only 2 encounters. God damn it. There's only 2 encounters in a patch of grass that could be the bird, and then you move on. I could be wrong, but I'm convinced that I'm not. Oh boy. All right, one more. Just watching the clock go up as time goes on and we continue on with this. As short as this game is, though, by comparison to Scarlet and Violet, and I did play Violet, and I did the full playthrough on my channel. Despite the fact that there were a handful of things that I did like about the Violet game, I was very disappointed about almost everything that I dealt with in that. I keep on calling it a horde encounter, but they're breakouts. Is that what it is? Outbreaks. That's what it was. It was an outbreak. That's it. Just remembered. Like, the outbreaks are a nice touch. It's cool and all, but, like, I don't know. There's just so many things missing from that game. It was kind of I kind of regret that purchase. And I was going to skip ZA, but what I'm seeing is really cool. What I'm hearing is really cool. Like, I am convinced that I will like it. I just don't have the time for it right now. There's so many games I've been putting off for such a long time. I've got a whiteboard over here on my wall of games that, like, I was supposed to complete, like, last year, and I never got a chance to get to them. Because, like, sometimes I'm in the mood for something else. Sometimes I, you know, run into, like, there's a new game that maybe comes out, and I'm like, all right, I need to get to that. But, like, it's been a while since I've spent some time on, like, an older classic game outside of Pokemon, and I really want to get in there. Because, like, I did the Borderlands franchise, the first game, the pre-sequel, 2, the pre-sequel, 3, and all that. And they're now old enough now where you can call, like, at least the first 1 and 2 can be considered classics. Pre-sequel, maybe. 3, no. But I wanted to get all that because I wanted to jump into 4. But, yeah, 4 was met with a lot of performance issues on PC, so I was like, I'll wait. It's already had one major discount, so we'll wait until the Steam Winter Sale, which will be in a few months, and if it's 50% off, then I'll grab it, because by then that'll bug fixes and all that stuff. But the good thing about older games, especially, you know, Pokemon games, is like they're complete when they're released. You don't have to worry about a day 1 patch fixing things. You don't have to worry about, like, hey, like, you know, there's some issues that we know of, we're gonna patch those in a few weeks, you know, and then they never talk about it ever again. They never do. Don't do that. Release the game when it's fixed, when it's working. Stop selling broken products and just pushing things over the internet hoping it'll fix things when it just ends up breaking more things. I feel like I can confidently say Nintendo doesn't particularly do it that way, so I do like how they handle things. But most AAA companies love pushing broken shit out the door, selling it at a max price, and then fixing it 6 months later at a discount for 25% off. Like, that is crazy. Like, Borderlands 4 already had a 20% discount. Like, $70 for that game is outrageous. And, but then they were selling it for like 55 bucks, I think, or something like that. Like, that's, you know, in the grand scheme of things, like, that's not really a lot of money, but to some, it might be. You know, to some, that's you know, money they just don't have. But to have 1 month after release, it was like 1 month to like the day almost. I think it was off by like 2 or 3 days. 1 month after release, you got a 20% discount. That is crazy. I do think that, yeah, I don't know. This isn't Borderlands, so I don't want to make it all about that. But I have thoughts on that whole thing. But that's a conversation for another time. But I don't know. I don't know if ZA is plagued with issues. I don't know. I haven't heard anybody complain about things. I've only heard positives, which is cool. But I think I'm curious about ZA and how it feels to just run around through a city the whole time. Like a Pokemon game kind of feeling like it's setting in New York is really weird to me. Like, I know we were in Lumio City in this game, you know, in this gen, and that's fine. But like, it's very underdeveloped. You know, the whole experience in Lumio City kind of sucked. The camera controls were like the worst I've ever seen in a video game. They're just so bad. Or in a mainstream, like, you know, AAA title. It's just not good. Granted, I know that's not a problem, obviously, you know, in ZA. But like, I just don't think comparing the Lumios experience here to ZA is even remotely the same, especially because the entire game is in Lumio City. And they have like little biomes there within, which I think is an interesting concept. I just would love to see how that works firsthand, because that seems to me like that's nonsensical. I can't imagine being in a city and like finding a patch of grass or like a little stream to catch, you know, grass and bug type and water type Pokemon. That seems nuts. Like, when you're trying to catch flying Pokemon, like, okay, flying Pokemon over the city, but like, in my mind, I feel like there's a lot of Pokemon that don't come to the city. Hey, I was wondering how long it would take to run into this. So that seems a little crazy. All right, I don't care about this one that much, so I'm gonna Flame Burst it. This might be a bit too strong, but let's find out. That's fine. I'm not worried about it. I don't have any Pokemon that are low enough level where that fight would have been fair. Furret would have been really annoying, and I probably would have been knocked out. Jolteon would have taken forever. Scizor would have been taken forever. Alakazam would have knocked it out. Charizard obviously knocked it out. Greninja would have knocked it out. It just wouldn't have been it would not have been worth the catch. Now, if this was like normal shiny odds, then yeah, I would have spent some time chipping away at it, but just not worth it. So I don't know. I feel like you wouldn't release ZA unless you like knew how to make it work, and I'm sure that they have a way. But like, in my mind, if you have fire Pokemon that are in caves or in like volcano or volcanic areas or something like that, how do you do that in the city? Like, where do you find fire Pokemon? Like, are they in some sort of like underground like heating system, and they're like, you know, providing, you know, you've got ice Pokemon down there doing like the air conditioning, and then you got the heater on because you got, you know, some Charmanders, like, you know, with their tails lighting things up. You know what I mean? Like, how does that work? I really don't know. Curious to how they logically apply those Pokemon. We got 7 minutes. The chances of us running into Moltres 4 times in 7 minutes? No way. No way. I think maybe there's an opportunity for us to run into it just once, but I don't know what happened. Like, every 10 times, or every 10 minutes, we ran into one, up until 6 times. Then after that, the game was like, nope, middle finger. Sorry, dude. If you're going to do it this way, if you're going to force me to run into it 10 times in the wild by chasing it, which is obviously hindered by the fact that my menu is slowing things down to, you know, half a frame per second, or like 1 frame per 10 seconds, so it's really bad, which is more on me than it is on, you know, Game Freak. But if you're going to do it this way, at least create some sort of like protection where it's like, all right, you haven't seen it, you know, in 20 minutes, we'll, you know, force an encounter. Like, there's got to be a smart way to do this, you know? Granted, I'm only voicing my frustration because of the circumstance I find myself in with the version of the game that I'm playing due to the mods that I applied, so I get that it's my fault. But that doesn't change the fact that this still sucks all the butt in the worst way. Still though, if we can end this with a shiny Torkoal, I'd be pretty happy. Because we got, yeah, less than 6 minutes and there's just not a chance we're running into 4 different Moltres encounters. If we ran into it just once, like, I would feel a little better. Dang, Durant is crazy. No Durant either. Like, I can understand Torkoal being a rare encounter, so you have the RNG of running into Torkoal and then the chances of it being shiny, but like, we've run into Durant so many times and still no shiny for that. Come on, you son of a bitch. Be shiny for me. It also sucks that, like, False Swipe, which is such a useful attack, is only is a move only a couple Pokemon that I have can learn, and I think Scizor is like one of the only ones that can really benefit from it. I don't know that the others on my team can use it. I feel like Greninja should be able to because he has sharp objects with like his water shuriken, so like he should be able to. Because even though he doesn't have any native like claws or like teeth or anything because he's a frog, he still does the False Swipe thing. Or he still manages to, like, I don't know, he seems like he could False Swipe a Pokemon, you know? I don't know. Because Greninja gets his gets the upper hand on a lot of Pokemon, but Scizor gets his butt kicked a lot. As a bug type and a steel type, he just gets stomped so often that it sucks that I have to use him for False Swipe. It's lucky that he has the Mega Evolution, because that definitely helps give him a little bit of a power boost to, you know, deal with those attacks, but Jesus, otherwise. Alright, under 4 minutes left. Down to the wire. I want to just give up right now, but I said I would do 2 hours, so let's just stick to that. God, I'm losing it, dude. I'm freaking losing it. I kind of want to deal with Zygarde first, because I don't know, like, what that situation is. Like, what does that look like exactly? I don't remember going after Zygarde. No, because I don't know that I ever beat. Yeah. Oh, you know what? So it looks like... So where is Mewtwo then? So Zygarde is in Terminus Cave. Oh, Mewtwo is in the Unknown Dungeon. So they are in 2 different places. So it looks like Mewtwo is going to be a super easy encounter. It doesn't look like that Unknown Dungeon is going to be too big. Ah, yeah, so this is what it says. Unlike another cave with the same name, Unknown Dungeon, this one only features a single small chamber, letting Pokemon Mewtwo can be found in the center of the chamber, standing with its back to the entrance. So that should be pretty easy. So the only thing we really need to do in that one is just reset. And that shouldn't be too awful with 1 in 100 odds. Or 1 out of 100 chances. So that should be tolerable. But yeah, Zygarde is going to take a long time through Terminus Cave. I need to load up on some max repels to deal with that. Yeah, the Mewtwo is not going to be easy, but I guess I probably throw my Master Ball at that thing. I just won't waste time on it, because it's got some pretty powerful moves. Ah, oh, damn it. I didn't realize I was walking. I was reading this and I didn't notice that I ran into that. You can't be shiny, you piece of trash. Pizza trash. All right, 1.5 minutes in counting. We're at 90 seconds in counting right now. And we haven't ran into a single one. We haven't run into one in like an hour. Sand trash. That sucks, man. Really upset by this, dude. Yeah, I gave up on this. I wanted to title like the video "How to Catch the Legendary Birds," but like I gave up. Is more of an appropriate name. Yeah, this was too long and too much of a pain. Granted, you know, you might find better luck if you're, you know, if you're not using a modded system. So this is, I mean, it's solely on me. I take responsibility for that, but yeah, let's just go. I'll just go out. We should have enough time for like one more run and 2 more encounters probably, is my guess. Because we're at like 20 seconds left now. Yeah, not a chance. All right, come on. Yeah, I don't know, because the fact that we ran into this one 6 times in the same spot, but then like it moved to another location, makes me wonder if like it sits there waiting for you or not. I really don't know. I don't know how it does that. All right, we got 3 seconds left, so 1 more encounter. And we didn't get it, so that's just how it is. But let me just go ahead and just double check. Yep, that was it. So 6 total encounters in 2 hours. But yeah, again, that's on me for the sheer fact that like the system just didn't support that. Whatever, that's fine. We're gonna dip out of here. Let's go Pokemon. Let's go Charizard. Let's go use Move Fly, and we're gonna go to Snowbell Town, I think. Snowbell City, excuse me. Where are you at? There we go, perfect. All right, and that's a wrap on this one. We spent 2 hours and ran into Moltres 6 times, so we didn't get a chance to go and see it over in the Sea Spirit's Den. But that's really how you do it. There's not really anything else to tell you. So yeah, let's just we'll read this as sort of a reminder for those that stuck it out all the way to the end, which I didn't expect that many did, because why would you at this point? Okay, so the first Pokemon you encounter after meeting Professor Sycamore in Lumio Station after becoming the new champion will be one of the 3 legendary birds of Kanto. Only one has been spotted at Kalos at a time. If you have Chespin, it's Articuno. If you have Fennekin as your starter, it's Zapdos. Froakie is Moltres. After the first encounter, the Pokedex is able to track its location after encountering the Pokemon 11 different times, so 10 plus the scripted and first initial encounter. It'll travel to the Sea Spirit's Den in Azure Bay, where you finally have a chance to capture it. Consider stocking up on Ultra Balls, Dust Balls, Quick Balls, or Timer Balls for this battle. Articuno, in particular, is the most defense-oriented of the trio. Start off with Fire, Electric, Rock, or Steel-type attacks to wear its health down quickly, then follow up with Grass-type Bug moves to whittle it down even further. Articuno at level 70 is a Ice and Flying-type Pokemon with the ability Pressure, no held item, it knows Ice Beam, Hail, Reflect, and Tailwind. Zapdos is the fastest of the 3. Begin with the super effective Rock or Ice-type moves before wearing it down gradually with Bug, Grass, Flying, Fighting, or Steel. At level 70 as well, it's an Electric and Flying type. At the ability Pressure also. No held item, it knows Agility, Discharge, Rain Dance, and Light Screen. That actually makes it look like it's super easy, because unlike the other 2 birds, Zapdos only knows 1 Electric-type move and no Flying-type moves, whereas Articuno knows 2 Ice and 1 Flying, and Moltres knows 2 Fire and 1 Flying, respectively. Moltres is the most offensive-oriented of the group. Open with Water, Electric, or Rock-type attacks, and follow up with Grass, Fire, Bug, Fighting, Steel, or Fairy to wear it down. A Fire and Flying-type Pokemon also with the ability Pressure. Moltres at level 70 knows Safeguard, Air Slash, Sunny Day, and Heat Wave. So, yeah. It looks like Zapdos would be the easiest one to probably attack if you're using Ground-type Pokemon to chip away its health, so that way it couldn't really hit you. Because Agility doesn't do anything. Rain Dance doesn't make any sense why it has that move. Discharge, yeah, well, I take that back. Does Rain Dance make it so he can hit electric, or he can hit with electric moves on ground types? Non-damaging water type move introduced. What does it do? Let's see. A rainfall will start in the field, which will last 5 turns. This clears any other weather, and it's possible to use. While rain has an effect, the base damage of water type moves will be increased by 50, whereas the base damage of solar and fire type will be decreased by 50. Additionally, thunder, ignore. Let's see. That doesn't make any sense. I'm not reading anything here that has any benefit with that. I'm not seeing anything. Yeah, because I would think Rain Dance would hurt. Or wouldn't hurt, but it would like get a rock or a ground type Pokemon wet, which makes it conducive to electricity, and therefore Zapdos could zap it. But that's just not the case. Whatever. All right, well, that's a wrap then. This is the longest video in the playthrough so far. We were hunting down Moltres and we failed, and I just give up. I'm just over it. That's fine. That's just how it is. If you're expecting me to catch Moltres in this one, sorry, you have better luck than me, but you know how to do it. Find a spot that you can grind out and go for it. But in any case, we'll wrap it up here. Thank you for watching this long, unfinished, and incomplete episode of Pokemon X. We'll move on to the Unknown Dungeon, where we will encounter a level 70 Mewtwo and go for the shiny variant of that with a 1 in 100 chance of it being shiny. So yeah, that'll be fun. Anyway, if you did enjoy this video, and I don't blame you for not, still show some love by hitting the like button. Don't forget to subscribe, of course. Any feedback for me, leave in the comment section. I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Also, don't forget to take a look at the description box. There's some links there that might, links there that might be of interest to you. One of which is a link to the Mark9 community Discord server. If you want to be part of that group, you can chat with me directly. Otherwise, just know I appreciate you and your time, and hope to see you when we continue with more of our playthrough of Pokemon X. We're almost done, so don't miss out on the final 2 remaining episodes after this. But all right, that's it for me. Take care, be well. See you next time.